Hey everybody, this is Vivek, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through some of the most important documents connected to forming a UAE company. Now, you might be wondering why this topic deserves its own video. Well, the reason is that opening a company in the UAE is very different from opening it in other jurisdictions like, say, the US or the UK. In those places, basically all you receive is a trade license or an equivalent document. You file that with the registrar of the state, and this is the US process, and that's pretty much it. Well, in the UAE, the process is a little different, and the documents involved play different roles. So, the first document that you should be aware of is your trade license. Now, your trade license, as the name suggests, is really just a certificate from the issuing authority or jurisdiction that grants you the right to conduct business. It'll list your company's name, it'll list the company owners' names as well. So if you're the sole owner of your company, as I am, it'll just list your name. If you have any partners, it'll list their names as well. Some trade licenses also list the designated manager. So for example, if you have an employee who you would like to hire to manage the daily affairs of the company, some trade licenses have their name on there as well. The other important information on the trade license is the company formation date, the license expiration date, and additional information that is usually quite important. So a little bit of background here. UAE company licenses usually are valid for 1 year, and you need to renew the license before it expires. The trade license usually has a few guidelines and other information that tells you when you need to be renewing your license. For example, my company is in Ajman free zone, and my trade license stipulates that I need to renew my company's license at least 1 week before the license expires. So if I show up on the day or the day before the license expires and I try to renew it, I will be hit with, non-renewal fines because the process just takes that long. So the trade license is an important document that you should always keep in mind. Make sure you store it in a safe place. And the good news is a lot of free zone authorities and the mainland as well across all the Emirates issue electronic trade licenses. So you don't need to keep a physical copy. However, some free zones still have the requirement where you need to be present with a physical copy. So if that's the case for you, make sure you store it in a safe place. The second most important document that you should keep in mind is the establishment card. Now, the establishment card is definitely a document for which no equivalent exists anywhere else. This is because the establishment card is connected to the number of visas in your company, and it gives you the right to sponsor either yourself or other people as employees to work for your company. So again, a little bit of background in case you're not aware. If you open a company in the UAE, you can apply for residence in this country. So if you decide to sponsor yourself through your own company, your company needs to have a valid establishment card. The establishment card, as the name suggests, is just literally a card. These days, of course, it's entirely electronic. You will not receive a physical card, as used to be the case back in 2014-15. So the way the establishment card works is a little bit different, and it throws off a lot of company owners because they don't understand the process. So the establishment card is something that the free zone does not control, or even the mainland authority that issues you your license. It does not control the establishment card's sort of issuance. What happens is once your trade license is issued, the authority or jurisdiction that issues you the license sends the establishment card over to the immigration authorities. Now, the immigration authorities are not concerned in the least about what your business activity is or, what sort of goods you're selling or anything of that sort. All they're concerned about is your past history in this country, if any outstanding, criminal warrants or anything else. If you have a police record, for example, they do check those things. Unfortunately, for some people, they also check your nationality or the passport that you currently possess. And in the UAE, this is a bit of a sticking point. Some nationalities just do not receive visas. So, for example, if you're from, some of the countries where the authorities are not keen on issuing visas, you might find that your establishment card does not get approved. So in this case, there's no point complaining to the free zone because really it's not in their hands. And this is something that you should watch out for and conduct research about before you decide to open a company. especially if you intend on applying for a residency using your company. A lot of company formation agents will not disclose the fact to you that your establishment card might get rejected based on your nationality. So it's very important that you explicitly ask this question to any agent or really any jurisdiction where you intend on opening your company. Now, if you're not completely certain what I mean by jurisdictions, I have another video where I talk about all these things and walk you through the differences between free zones, mainland, and the different emirates. So make sure you check that out in case you're not aware of that. The next document that you should be aware of is the e-channel. Now, technically the e-channel is not a document. It is simply a bureaucratic process, and one that can be a bit frustrating and cost intensive if you're not aware that it even exists. So the e-channel is connected to your establishment card. While the establishment card acts as an initial registry with immigration, the e-channel is a bureaucratic process which frankly I have no idea what it does, but it is something that they charge you money for. So it is relevant for us company owners. The way the e-channel works is you literally just have to pay money for it, and you need to keep renewing it every single year. Usually the establishment card renews along with the e-channel every year, so you don't have to pay separate costs for it. Although in some jurisdictions you might have to pay separate costs, so make sure you check that out as well. There is another hidden cost that comes with the e-channel that you should be aware of. E-channel opening usually requires that you deposit 5,000 dirhams with your issuing authority. Now this deposit is returned to you once you shut down your company, and it's all completely above board. It's just that there's an additional 5,000 dirham deposit that you will have to account for when you calculate costs of opening a company. So if you're a bit cost conscious, make sure you include this cost in your calculations because it does throw off a lot of people. Now, the deposit itself, once you pay it, you'll receive a receipt from the jurisdiction. Make sure you keep that receipt safely, because if you don't have that receipt, you're going to have all kinds of problems receiving or that 5,000 dirham deposit back. So make sure you keep that in mind. The next important document, of course, is the visa. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on the visa because really this is more of a personal thing than a company related thing. But from a company process side, really once the establishment card is established and your e-channel is open, all you need to do is just apply for the visa and provide personal details of the applicant themselves. So if it is you applying for a visa, you need to give your passport and other details. You need to attend a medical test, which occurs separately. They'll collect fingerprint data and everything else, at the end of which you will receive an electronic visa, because the UAE does not stamp visas in passports these days, and you will receive the Emirates card, the Emirates ID, which is the most important ID within the UAE. In fact, it acts as your proof of residence as well for many purposes. So for example, if you're visiting abroad and you're coming back in, if immigration officials ask you for proof of residence, you need to show them your Emirates ID card. So it's an extremely important document that you need to hang on to at all times. So those are the important documents that you need to be aware of. Now you may notice I haven't spoken about things like articles of incorporation, the MOA, share certificates, etc. The truth is these documents are available for an additional charge, but more often than not, they are not included by default. Now, my personal experience is, I have an FZE, which is a single member LLC equivalent. Therefore, I don't need to have an articles of incorporation or an MOA. But if you open a company in a partnership, for example, an FZCO or an FZLLC, in that case, you will receive a templated articles of incorporation that you will just need to sign. You can even make changes to it if you wish, and then you file that with the authorities, and that's pretty much it. But other documents like share certificates and say any special letters or something like that, you will need to pay for it, and you will need to process a request with the issuing authority to receive those documents. They are not issued to you by default. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and please do keep these documents in mind, because if you review them, you'll notice that some of them have additional charges. So always do keep that in mind when creating a budget for opening a company. If you're interested in learning more, check out the article that I have on my blog, which is in far more detail than this video. And as usual, thanks for watching. Let me know of any questions.